Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the PHNX Rising Show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. We got Owain Evans in the house. We got Max Simpson in the house. And, of course, myself, Ramon Chavez. Happy to be here with y'all. How you doing, guys? Good to see you. It's been a while.
It has, but you know what they say? We're getting close towards the end of root canal season, whether it be for me or whether it be for Phoenix Rising. We're pretty much there.
Which one was worse? Was it getting
the that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I mean, one of them's been a lot quicker to get through the.
It took 8 months.
Yeah.
Max, how you doing, my man?
Good. Oh, thank you, sir. This is a little thing from a Bad Birdie. It's new people that we're working with, and they've graciously hooked a couple of us up, including Mr. Sean DePaz, our producer. But hooked a couple of us up with some nice golf gear. And if you want to, by the way, for anyone in the chat, if you want to, channel your inner Gareth Bale and really get on your golf game, get that look and everything like that, use code PHNX at badbirdiegolf.com for 10% off. There's my shameless plug. We are less than a minute and a half in, and I'm already doing an ad read. I'm in pure form.
Max.
Let's go.
That'll be Gareth Bale World Cup knockout stage player, given the way that the US have been playing.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Saudi Arabia is a top 75 opponent. How dare you, sir?
That's right. 56th in the world. All right. So, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But great to be back, guys. Happy to be here with the chat. Shout out to everybody there. Devin, Harry. Devin's asking about my date. Did not go on a date. I remember how the last show ended, but we're not going to get into that. But yeah, good to be back. So yeah, we have a great show for you guys today. Tomorrow, Rising will be traveling up to Northern California to face off against Sacramento Republic. It's going to be a fun game, so we're definitely going to break down that matchup. We're going to talk about some team updates. Owen got a chance to speak to Juan Guerra, so we're definitely going to hear from him. We're going to take a look around the USL and finally talk about the international matchups that we have. This is the last FIFA window before the World Cup in November, so some intriguing matchups happened this past week. So let's just jump into it. Juan Guerra, he spoke a little bit about Sacramento and what he expects to see. I saw in the chat earlier that Rodrigo Lopez, Roro, is not going to be available for tomorrow's game due to suspension, so that's a good sign for Phoenix. But let's take a look at what Juan Guerra had to say about Sacramento and their game tomorrow.
It feels good to have obviously a full week of training. I think I was mentioning that to you, if not after Monterey, probably before that. It's like since we came in, we've had a lot of games, and it goes kind of like Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Saturday, and then a bye weekend. So we haven't really had that rhythm to fully train for a week and being able to have kind of like, we call them perfect weeks, where you have your reentry, you could have focused on on different things on different days, then you have a full recovery, and then you play again. So this week allowed us the opportunity to do that. And also, we welcome Gabi to the team, which was another positive addition. And then having a full week of work where it allows you to work on the things that you're doing well and trying to get better. And then also work on the things that we must improve. I do think that the team looked better for spells last game. And kind of like this, and it was sparks. It was sparks of moments, and now we have to make sure that we find ways to stretch those moments. If you watch the build-up on the 3 goals that we scored, and that's who we want to be. That's how we want to play, man. We want to keep the ball. We want to be able to move the ball quickly, with rhythm, with tempo, to be able to break down lines. After you break down lines and then you're ready in the final thirds, you make good decisions. And then, and the 3 plays, one of them with Greg Hurst, obviously, great individual work, but also collective work before. And then in the other ones, both of them finish on penalties. So it's about how can we stretch those moments a lot more, and then also make sure that we minimize the mistakes that we're making, man, because there's too many transition moments, and that's going to be key tomorrow night versus Sacramento at home. This is a team that I've already faced twice this year, and I know them very well. And it's gonna be key tomorrow that we avoid those transition moments.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good time to launch in. You hear about the transition moments there. I'm sure that the chat will at some point remind us of this, of boring Briggs that Phoenix Rising are up against tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, he's gotten the job done. He's done a great job with this team. Obviously, with the U.S. Open Cup, they're in a good spot in the West. Might be, be able to get a home game in the playoffs. So that's important. So as boring as it is, they're in a better position right now than Rising. Yeah. So they're getting the job done.
Winning is winning sometimes.
I mean, it's interesting where he says, I get it's nice from a team mentality to have that full week of training. It's pretty crazy that in the last 10 matches for Sac Republic, every other outside of the like Open Cup final, they have had all but one match on matches that it's all on Saturday. They haven't had many midweek games to contend with, and I don't know, man. Like, it's a grind of a season. I can get that kind of overhaul you, and especially with Rising, when you're able to get that kind of week break, it's definitely got to do wonders for you. Especially when you're facing another team, which, yeah, man, those transition moments, it's gonna keep on happening.
Yeah, and I think we all agree that we would have wanted this team to be in a better position with this week-long break heading into these final games of the season. But I think this game's still important. Mathematically, Rising's still not out. There's still an opportunity there. They're going to need a lot of help.
Just for now.
Also,
it could be done by Wednesday.
That's true. But, I think this is a game I'm looking forward to. Sacramento is a team that Rising has lost against this season. They've tied against them as well. So I think they want to get this W. I think the players are going to be excited, and they just want to finish out the season well. So I hope they bring that out tomorrow.
I would agree. I feel, though, that there's still just that the lingering confidence issues are still there with Phoenix Rising. It's tough, right? You're trying to pick them up off the ground in very little time. I'm not sure whether they will be there by the time of this game. Sacramento are a tough team. They're not easy to play against. Look, Rising are also depleted as well. I know we mentioned Roro Lopez. Of course, Kev Lambert is away on international duty. Also suspended, apparently, as well, according to USL, for picking up 11 cautions himself. So not only will he be out for tomorrow's game, which we knew anyway, but he'll be out on the weekend as well, because that carries a 2-game suspension. One of which he's apparently allowed to serve during an international window.
That was going to be my question. Does that carry over? Because
yeah. I mean, the interesting thing that I see is, I mean, we talk about like home field advantage. I know, like Rising, it's been a tough go of it at home. Man, that's not the case for Sac. In their last 5 matches, undefeated with a goal differential of 13. 14 goals scored, 1 conceded in their last 5 home matches. That's not a bad run of form. So yeah, man, it's a tough go of it. Like, maybe we're hoping for tired legs, but I think we're kind of all seeing. It seems like we're all kind of on the same page of it's just another team that's running transition, and it's. I'm very curious how they're going to do with just kind of a similar style that they've been facing the last couple of matches. It just has not paired well for them. I want to see something different personally.
But I don't think we are going to see something different.
I'm not saying we will.
That we're going to see it. I think we might well see it further down the line as the season has definitely gotten away, and also against certain weaker opposition. But going in against Sacramento Republic, it's also a tough time, especially at this time of the season. You're already kind of trying one new thing by having the general, game kind of model that Juan Guerra is putting in place there. That just as they're getting used to that, to then try and add more in against certain teams, fine, you can do it, but I don't think you can necessarily do it against Sacramento. Of course, your problem you've got there, though, is that you are thin at the back. You are thin on defenders when you've got Kranis is out. You've got Kev Lambert out as well. Brian Flood is out injured. It's tough. Is there weaker competition? Pat Moses says in the chat, by the way. Yes, there are. I would like to point out. No. There are two Eastern Conference teams that, quite frankly, Rising has to play at home, and if they can't win those games, you really should be questioning if they're professional footballers, because these ties are dire, right? Bearing in mind, Phoenix Rising has got 33 points from 30 games. Atlanta 2 have 20 from 31 games, and New York Red Bulls 2 have 15 from 31 games. So there's quite a drop off here. Okay, they are very poor at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. But I just don't see that. I don't think the change, and the indications are that the change isn't coming tomorrow. That we're going to see them more trying to. I mean, obviously there will be personnel changes because of availability, but the actual plan itself is going to be very similar to what we've seen in previous games.
Yeah, and I'm looking to seeing. I think Juan mentioned it in his press conference today, Owen, that he saw those flashes against Monterey Bay, where the team was gelling, when they were connecting in passes, when the runs were coming in, and in those 3 goals, that was certainly the case. Now, can you sustain that over? Or create a few more chances, I would say, because if you can't really sustain it the entire game. But if you add those opportunities and you get in front of goal and you get those shots on target, that's when you become a little bit more dangerous as a team. And we saw that against Monterey. I was happily surprised to see that, especially with the Greg Hurst goal, because it's not something that we've seen often, at least after the first month of the season, I'd say, where this team was able to connect and move and do what they wanted to play and play their way, not the opposition's way. And ultimately, again, they didn't get the 3 points, but they showed flashes of what they're capable of doing under the system. And that's an improvement over what we've seen in the last few games.
And I think
I'll go ahead.
On, Max.
Oh. I was gonna say, like, if you're already, we've already seen that this team has had its defensive issues, and especially if you're going to be thin on defense, you then have to almost over rely on the offense performing. And I mean, we saw the flashes against Monterey. I'm just curious about if we're not going to see any wholesale changes, which I'm in the camp as well that I want that to happen. We're not probably going to see it happen. If we need to kind of over rely on the offense, then where's that going to come from? Right. Like, I mean, I think we all want to see Hurst star. We want to see him work back a bit, but if that's really the only maybe tweak we might see other than a personnel shift here or there, where's the difference going to come from? Cause I just don't see it.
I actually think in that last game, we saw a much better second half though. I think that, look, were they still a little bit lacking creativity at times up top? Yes. But structurally, they were a much better team than they were in that first half. The first half, they were just giving the ball away so much. They were getting, they ultimately weren't able to deal with that transition from Monterey Bay. In the second half, I felt like they were a little bit better at that. And I'm just interested to see, right? It's going to take time. It does take time to improve these things. I'm intrigued to see where we are on the progress, especially now with a week off to work on it, to see where they are. But of course, one thing that's worth noting, we're asking where the flash is going to be. Perhaps we should point to another bit of news that we had coming in on transfer deadline day or roster freeze day.
I was right outside the stadium. You saw me.
Yeah, I know. Ramon was there all day. He was there all day. I was calling him every 10 minutes. I was like, Ramon, is there anything going? I've heard there's a car leaving. Who's in the car? And he said, I was just one of the front office guys going off to get lunch. But, he was there all morning. And, of course, there was one new signing for Phoenix Rising.
Every player that we bring in, it's going to be a player that fits our, first of all, our game model, then a style of play, and then also that checks the box of character. So Gabi is a great player. He's technically gifted. His athleticism and speed on wide areas fits very well our game model and our style of play. And I'm very happy to have him, just like the rest of the other guys we have. Obviously, we're always thinking of how can we improve, right? How can we find ways to obviously try to get better and be better, and obviously bringing in fresh blood into that locker room and make sure the blood is circulating, and also bringing in good characters. It's always going to help out. So obviously he was an option that came to the table. We explored it, and it made sense. It made sense for the player, and it made sense for both teams. And this is why we decided to bring him in.
So Gabi Torres then bringing a bit of a Brazilian flair to the outside there, left back, but perhaps we're going to see him in, I know that some people seemed quite hopeful that he'd be replacing Babu Kajai in the team on social media. Yet to see quite where he fits in there, but he is a guy who has created a fair number of assists for FC Tulsa, where he joined from. So maybe he does have a bit more attacking threat.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed when I was reading the press release, that he was a leader in assists for FC Tulsa. So he can get down, the flanks. He's able to cross, put the cross in the box, which is what we've been lacking this season, and create some chances out of that. So great stuff. I also did notice, correct me if I'm wrong, Owen, there's an option for 2023. So this isn't just like a few games and we'll see what happens after the season. There is an option for 2023 in his contract.
Yeah, so what happened here, initially it seemed as though it had been announced as a loan. I've been told since it isn't a loan. So he's come in now. He had, pretty much the end of this year was left on his contract. He does have an option year for next year, so the club can retain him if they like what they see. But which to me would imply we're going to see him get some game time, because what's the point in bringing a guy in if you're not going to then give him those opportunities to see whether you want to bring him back next year?
No, for sure. And I mean, that's you hit around the head, man. Like, there's still theoretically, like we keep saying, some season to still play for now. But, you gotta have, like, if you're Juan Guerra, you gotta have a bit of a mindset of, yeah, we're trying to win now, but you have to kind of be thinking of the future. You can't just put all the chips in now and not be giving those reps to what your future can be for next season and down the road. I am very curious to see like how he can help solidify with some of those deeper crosses that Rising really has been liking to play, where if they maybe don't have that 1-for-1 speed to burn the defense, that's okay. We just need to see a bit more clinical crossing, especially if it is coming from deep. And that's just something that where we're looking for like JJ Williams and for, Hurst to find the ball, that's been missing. So I'm all for it. I would love to see how he comes in. And like, I don't know. Do you guys think, are we going to, how much playing time you think he's going to give him on tomorrow?
I wouldn't be shocked. Look, again, this is a guy who's been playing elsewhere in the league. So it's not like he's coming in cold.
Sure.
I am intrigued to see. I think he could play tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, if he's only here for a few games, and then
there's only so much time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've seen Sarhis get some playing time as well. So, and you're obviously lacking in the back, so he's gonna get some minutes regardless. So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to see what he's up to. So Max, we're talking a little bit about what players may be coming back next year. Actually, Juan Guerra talked about it a little bit today. Owen, if you want to set us up a little bit more, but yeah, they're already we got some clubs calling, agents, they're thinking about next year. So yeah, Juan Guerra had something to say. Owen, were you surprised that he kind of talked about that today?
Well, I mean, I asked him about it, so it would have been a bit awkward for him to not bring it up. But I asked him pretty much, look, this season is pretty much almost over. It could be mathematically over this week. I mean, it could be mathematically over as soon as tomorrow night. So I asked him, as the focus turns towards next year, how is he managing that with the players, especially those who aren't really sure about where they're going to be? And here's what he had to say.
Yes, so and with the boys, with the agents, with different clubs calling all the time, and our message is the same one. He's like, listen, we're still on. We got Sacramento tomorrow, then we have to play versus Red Bull at home, then we go to RGV, and then we have our final home game versus Atlanta at home. I have time right now. When I came in, I didn't have time, but if we think about next year, I have time. I have time to think. I have time to really digest this year and make sure that I can reflect. And right now we're evaluating and assessing absolutely everything on the day-to-day. And I'm not in a rush to absolutely make any decisions at the moment. And this is what we've been telling agents, players, clubs that have asked the same question that you asked, is that we're not in a rush at the moment. I have time to make decisions, and we're going to wait till the end of the year. And then we're going to make sure that we make the right decision that is always thinking of the club, always thinking about the organization, and not too much about, agents, individuals, or other clubs. My responsibility is to protect Phoenix Rising and make sure that the decisions that I make are always thinking about the club and the future, and then to put us in a position that we can be successful, not just next year, but also for many years. And that is the importance of next year, is making sure that we can build something that has longevity. We can build something with a proper structure that lets us build for the future.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. You know, you got to evaluate. Obviously, it hasn't been a successful season, so there's going to be people wanting to either move on or continue on. It's fair to ask those questions right about now.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, man. Like I think it's just like the thing I keep going back and forth on is I understand you got to keep spirits high, especially after, you know, like when you said Rick's kind of done a number on these players, but I feel you don't want to get caught in the middle. I know I keep on going back to it, but that's something I really do worry about, that the next season is not going to be made or broken in these next couple matches. But I mean, this is a really fantastic time to evaluate your players. And I guess I'm not saying we concede completely, but I really wish it's like, okay, if we're mathematically eliminated tomorrow, I guess that kind of helps a bit, but I want to see us have more of a push towards really finding out who is going to be a Phoenix Rising player in the club next season.
And I think that's something we will see. I think that again, I'm not expecting to see tactical changes tomorrow. I could very well expect to see them by the weekend, because it's just the circumstances, isn't it? And partly it's, look, you've got players away, you're struggling, but part of it as well is you want to try some things out. Look, you normally get a whole preseason to do this, and obviously Juan has not had that. He was thrown straight into the fire. But I don't know. I feel as though, look, again, a lot of the players on this team are capable of playing better than they have this year.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't shock me if some come back, especially even those who some might not want to see come back. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's all up for grabs at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, these games are going to be good, whether they're eliminated or not, just to see who's out there. I mean, I'm intrigued to see Carlos Anguiano. He got a lot more minutes against Monterrey. I felt like he played well. He played good. He was moving the ball along, so maybe he gets a little bit more opportunity just to see if he's able to stick around another year with Rising.
And you know what? That's something that also came up in the press conference today, Juan mentioning about how, you look at the role that he was able to do off the bench, and he sees that as a positive. You know, he was also quite complimentary about Greg Hurst and what Greg is capable of doing. And he knows what Greg can do at his best. He just almost needs more minutes at times to get there. So, you know, there's promise in some of these guys. We're just going to have to wait and see whether the faith is in them almost to get it done next season so that they stick around. But I'm sure we're going to have a long off season to delve into who should, who shouldn't stay and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, y'all, let's get down to the predictions. I'm feeling a 1-0 victory for Republic tomorrow. I don't know if Rising has it in them to get a W, but, you know, go ahead and surprise me. But what do you think? What do you guys think for tomorrow?
Max, I'm throwing you up first.
Owen doesn't like doing this stuff.
Give me a 1-1 draw. The Sac's run of form at home, like I mentioned earlier, has been phenomenal. But short rest, Rising's got the rest. Rising rides the momentum of a 3-3 draw, which is a really weird thing to say. But yeah, give me 1-1.
What's interesting here is that the odds have actually tightened on this game. Earlier, Rising were a much heavier underdog than... I mean, look, they're still a fairly heavy underdog. They're at plus 285. Mm-hmm. But they were, I believe, over plus 300 earlier. So, I don't know. We'll see on this one. I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw as well, I think, Max. I was thinking, could I see Rising scoring too many tomorrow? And I don't think they'll win the game. Equally, I don't think that Sacramento will have a lot of goals in them, especially with Roro absent. So I think 1-1 is a fairly safe bet.
Yep.
We'll see.
When in doubt, pick the draw.
The draw.
When in doubt, pick the draw. Yeah.
All right, yo. Sounds good. We'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Cool, guys. So let's take a quick break and talk about what's going on tomorrow. Not only is the game tomorrow with Rising and Sacramento, but also it is the last Wednesday of the month. So that means that our shows at PHNX will be heading over to the Four Peaks 8th Street Pub location, having their shows there all day. It's September 28th tomorrow, taking place over there. So you'll see the PHNX Coyotes, the Bets show, Suns, which is a lot of stuff going on with the Suns. So you got to make sure to tune in for them. Sun Devils podcast, Cardinals, of course, and the D-backs. So go check them out over there. And you can also enjoy $3 kilt lifter and Wow Pints when you mention you're there to watch the PHNX show. So, and remember, guys, you must be 21 years or older to participate, and make sure to enjoy it responsibly. So yeah, check out the shows tomorrow. And then Max, I still haven't gotten a chance to get down to the studio. I know I saw in the comments, I think Reese said it, that he wanted a studio show, hopefully Thursday or sometime this week. But I need to get down there because of OGs, man. We got the brand new flavor out, Aqua Berry. I'm all excited about it. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, man. I went out to Tahoe for a little long vacation. Actually, right after our show on Wednesday, I was beat. I was tired. I had a like a 7 a.m. flight the next day, so I needed sleep. I actually, wait, I took that on the show. I popped I just realized I bought that on the show. I took
on camera. We have that on.
Yeah, we do have that on camera. Yeah, but I took half of that their new Sleep Edition gummy, and I slept like a baby. So it does the job. Tastes delicious, and yeah, we love OGs. We should have a lot of cool stuff coming on the pipe and down the pipeline with them. So yeah, check them out. They have all the great flavors. Their new Sleep Edition is fantastic.
Yeah, check them out.
Look, I was gonna say, if that can make you drift off after a 3-3 draw, then
okay. Man, I mean, listen, we all know that we talked about last week. That was a very entertaining 3-3 draw.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if that can calm you down after a 3-3 draw, that is a glowing endorsement. Especially a 3-3 draw with a missed 90th minute penalty.
Legend has it that PK is still traveling.
Oh no, because it smashed off the top of the roof. Yeah. There was like a thing behind it.
It was. That guy could use an OGs. You know what I mean?
Oh man, but yeah, no, it was a great game. But yeah, for sure, if you're interested in purchasing OGs, check out their website, ogsbrands.com. Also follow them on Instagram at ogsbrands, and you can also find their products at your local dispensary. And you must be 21 years or older to purchase.
Yeah, I will say real quick, the Flavoring Life sweepstakes, which we always have with them, they actually gave me a heads up that the next couple months winners will get that new Sleep Edition gummy in there. So if you really want to try them out as well, enter in the sweepstakes. The link is in our description, and you get free gummies. So yeah.
Fun times. Make sure to join the sweepstakes. All right, y'all, let's take a quick look around the USL. Owen, any particular game stood out to you this past weekend that you want to talk about a little bit?
You know what? It's been such a long season that I almost tried to just completely shut it out. But we're getting to that point. I will say, actually, and Harry's brought it up here, since we did mention him, Sekou Kone, shout out to him. But there were some really, really disgusting things by the sound said online in his direction. So, yeah, we probably should mention that. And it's unfortunately not the first time that we've seen incidents of this nature in this league. And it's just disappointing, isn't it? It's disappointing that there doesn't seem to be any progress on this. Look, it's hard. I mean, this doesn't necessarily compare with some of the other incidents we've seen in the past where things happen in stadiums. You need to argue there's got to be much tighter control. This is a lot more difficult, but it's just.
And then Owen, just to clarify, so this was the player that missed that penalty at the end of the Rising game. He got were there some stuff said to him like at the stadium, or was there all mostly online? I mean, regardless, it's not.
I mean, he look, the fans were on his back in the stadium, but it wasn't. There's a big difference, isn't there, between that and what Monterey Bay came out the following day and said about how, you know, he'd been racially abused on social media, and that obviously it's taking it way too far. I just wonder when we're going to get through a season in USL and not have to ultimately deal with these incidents. We saw it last year, happened a couple of times in stadiums last year, happened in Loudon, happened in New Mexico, and it's just disappointing all around.
Yeah. No, that's not good. Yeah. And I think as fans of the game and the league, I think it's, you know, partly our responsibility as well to let people know not to be a little bit more responsible. And, if you see something, do something about it, say something, so that way it doesn't continue to happen, because these players don't deserve that. No one deserves to be racially abused. And it's at the end of the game, at the end of the day, it's just a game. It doesn't have to cross over into that. It's not that deep. And so, sorry for to that player. It's not something that should be happening to him. And, shame on those fans, man. You can't even really call them fans if they're acting like that. So not good to see.
No, for sure, man. I mean, give him a hard time for missing the penalty, but like, don't make it personal like that. It's just, it's not anymore. It's that simple, Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, should we look at the other games then? So, Loose City won Memphis 2 on Friday night. That was a big match at the top of the Eastern Conference. Memphis with the goal right at the end of the game. Not only that, we had 3 red cards for a confrontation right at the end of the match. 2 players putting hands up in each other's faces, so red cards come out for that. There was another one in there as well. So that was 3 red cards, I believe about 90 plus 7. So, yeah.
And then just something to note there, if Memphis wins the rest of the games this season, they're pretty much going to be able to get that #1 seed.
They have it in their own hands now. They have it. Yeah. They're 2 points back, but they have a game in hand over Louisville. So now Memphis is kind of taking the driver's seat, really, in the Eastern Conference. But speaking of the driver's seat, San Antonio locking up top seed. They had a win over Sacramento Republic this past weekend. Shout out to Harry there in the chat, of course. Sam Adeniran with a goal. There was a red card in there as well. But most importantly, again, was the yellow card in that game for Roro Lopez, which means that he will miss tomorrow's match against Phoenix Rising. Beyond that, as you look around here, Colorado Springs dropping points to Oakland Roots. This is kind of why I'm a little bit worried going into tomorrow's game, because we've got to be real about the fact that this opens up a real window for Sacramento to overtake Colorado Springs, to push themselves up the table a little bit further and improve their seeding there. Monterey Bay with a draw away to Miami FC. That one, apparently they used all their goals up on Wednesday. It was a 0-0 draw. Orange County got a draw against Pittsburgh, 1-1. And well, there were a few other games in there. I suppose the biggest one, if you want to talk from a Rising perspective, really was the fact that Charleston Battery falling 3-0 at home to RGV. Those kind of games with those teams picking up the results is why I think realistically Friday didn't mathematically end it. It's now become beyond even like a pipe dream. It's kind of where the situation is now.
Hey, shout out to RGV, man. 4 straight wins. The last loss was against Rising, so and they said, you know what, we can't be dropping any more points, and they're just getting the job done, man. That's what you have to do to get into the playoffs.
Let's take a look at fixtures now, of course, because there's also a game today which has a good bearing on Rising's playoff hopes.
Rescheduled game? Is that what it is?
They are. Las Vegas Lights hosting Monterey Bay. Vegas have been really struggling lately. And to me, Monterey Bay should be the favorites for that. I don't believe they are, but they are to me. Yeah, they're not at the moment. If you want, you can hop on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Monterey Bay at +175. Vegas are at +130. I think Monterey Bay are the favorite in that game for me. If they win that game, Rising lose tomorrow, it's done. Okay, that's to keep it simple. That's
What, +175? I'm seeing it here.
+175. I'd take it.
You guys aren't gonna. Have you guys seen Vegas's Twitter? You're not gonna believe it, man.
I watch it all the time. What's happening?
Did you just see what they tweeted about the field?
Is it off again?
No, I'm just fucking with you. I'm sorry, I had to.
I was gonna say it wouldn't shock me.
So I could see Twitter. I was like, no way.
Shoot.
Like, what happened? They've come out there. Cash has been painting it green. Like, it's the exact same surface, but Cash has painted it green.
I'm really intrigued with what's going to happen with that team next year. It's, LAFC is going to take their kids to MLS Next Pro.
Look, if Vegas Lights folded, it wouldn't be a day too soon for anybody. except Brett Lashbrook.
No.
I think eventually they could, compete for a team, but I mean in the MLS, I'm saying, but I don't know, man. It's just
money talks,
but
man.
not them. Vegas might, but not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying that MLS doesn't
They're
want to
selling
go
tickets for
gimmick.
next year, Harry Austin said.
Is that what they're saying? Oh, Harry said? Well, that's positive. That's a positive. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, Max gave me a scared here. I was like, what the heck? I'm at his Twitter now, but yeah, man, we'll see.
I mean, they're selling tickets for next year. Great, but I don't know what to make of that. It's just...
Yeah. I mean, Rising selling season tickets, but not sure if they're still
not sure where they're going to play. Yeah.
Yeah, what's going on there? But yeah, so tomorrow there's another game besides the Rising game, which is Atlanta United 2 hosting Indy 11. So, a game maybe you could watch before the Rising game. So, and then Vegas will play again on Friday, which is crazy.
Yeah, just to Scott's comment here in the chat, any update on the stadium for next year? We haven't heard any as of yet, but I know there's been a lot of arguing on Twitter, of course, over the fact that people didn't seem to know what the official line was over season ticket deposit or season ticket payments and all of that, because, of course, Bobby Dooley had said on Twitter that, okay, we agree that it should be locked in price-wise until we know what's happening with the stadium for people who are renewing. And then ticket reps were saying something different. But, yeah, it's a very chaotic, nothing like chaos off the field as well, to join the on the field chaos as well.
I appreciate what Bobby said on Twitter, where it's like, we agree, and that's something we want to be doing regarding freezing tickets until freezing the price increase until they figure out the situation. But I mean, yeah, man, you guys got to get on the same page here. If you guys want to enact that, fantastic, but you got to let people know it can't just live in the vacuum of Twitter. I get that's where people's frustration is. And having the, him saying one thing, ticket rep saying another thing, like that'd be powerful. Put out a statement. I'm sure that would help. It's not rocket science.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like that Twitter reply was his final standing, but then nobody else knew what was going on.
That's the thing. And then you have people commenting this fantastic. Other people are then quote tweeting it a couple days later saying, what happened to this? They're tagging us. And it's like, what's going on here? This is weird. Yeah.
I think we do need to just talk about the fact that, look, there are some things that are hard. The stadium situation, we don't know the entirety of it, right? That might be hard, but you have to control what you can control.
Yep.
And basic communications you can control. That's something that takes 10 minutes. You come in, you've tweeted that on a Tuesday night. You come in on the Wednesday morning. You take 10 minutes to just jot down what the official line is. You email it. You even just email it out to everybody who's going to be interacting with fans and say, this is the official line on it. If anyone asks, this is how you respond.
Yeah. Well, it's a little thing that goes a long way. We even noted that we saw the information when it first came out about the season ticket increases that, it's staying the same, but only for a month. And then it was kind of vague after that. He then, people after our conversation with him last week, people talk about it. He responds and it's fantastic. I don't get how something so simple can't be broadcast and it makes such a massive opportunity, but it does go back to what we were saying, where this really does, this is where the fans' voices matter. Do they it's something simple where people are talking about it on Twitter and you're able to have, someone on the front office, on the team actually respond. And that's how these things happen. The issue then becomes, okay, balls in the team's court. Let's actually get this going. So shout out to the fans who are honestly, you have more power than you think. And while you might think it sometimes falls on deaf ears and I feel it often does. This is where you can make a difference. So keep pushing, honestly, keep doing it. You can only do so much, but keep going.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to have to, should we take a break here and invite our producer Sean in, because I see he's, joined by someone now.
Oh, what happened?
Kind of awkwardly behind the Rising logo there, but
there we go.
I don't know. My dog just ran here.
Puppy hours. What's the puppy's name?
Her name's Blue.
Blue. Nice. Not like Bluey.
She's an adorable little dog.
Hi, Nugget.
What's that?
Have you seen that show Bluey with the dog?
Yes, but she's named after Blue's Clues, the original blue dog.
Dude, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
She's also the worst dog in the world. She's really poorly behaved. Which is why she's in here right now.
Okay, makes sense. Man, well, yeah, we gotta get a whole like dog show because I got Bella right outside the door over here, and Max got the cats. I'm not sure if everyone has any pets, so
let's not bring the cat into this. I don't want to devalue the show. Yeah.
I saw this meme where it was like, "I love my cat," and it's all like their arms all ripped up because the cat's always like clawing at them. But anyway, yeah, it should be fun. We should do that one day. All right, y'all, let's take a quick break and talk about our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to download the app, and new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. And if that's not enough for you guys, everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. And right now, for every leg that you add, you can boost your winnings up to 100%. So with payouts bigger than ever, why not bet on football anywhere? Why bet on football anywhere else? So, and then to make things even sweeter, you can throw down on stepped up same game parlays once per game, all day, all season long. So super simple, guys. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code PHNX when you use it, and remember, minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Man, DraftKings be hooking it up, man. All these promotions just to help you make money. So.
They literally sent out. I put it in our Slack hangout. They sent out for Monday Night Football yesterday that if either team scores a touchdown, if you put down $25, they boosted the odds so where you win $25. And it's like, granted, it was the Cowboys and their backup quarterback and Daniel Jones, but even still, like, dude, yeah, like DraftKings are just going to send you random promos like all the time. So it's nice. It's nice.
Great stuff. Yeah, watching that game yesterday and the Sunday night, I was just like, come on, y'all. Like, pick it up. but
of course, you can not only do that, but you can bet on, important things like the World Cup, which based on the
shoot.
I'm hearing that you can bet $100 on the US and lose $100 on the US to win the World Cup.
Dang, I'm gonna be honest.
I thought that as well.
I was so excited because I'm like, oh, cool. It's the regularly scheduled Man U slander, and you had me in the first half, and then you lost me, and I was like, nope. I know where this is going. I know we're gonna touch on that a bit later. I'll just say very quickly, like, no team in the group is in good form. Maybe Iran. So, like, bet Iran to win the group.
That on Twitter. I think Iran's gonna win. The way everybody's playing. Man, that's crazy. I mean, we can get into it now. So let's talk about Wales and their performance this last week. Owen, how you feeling?
We were missing some really key pieces in the midfield, which didn't help, right? The depth in the midfield is very, very slim. Okay, so when you lose Aaron Ramsey, when you lose Joe Allen, you don't have a whole lot to replace them with. However, what I will say, despite what happened in other games and people, well, Wales lost both games. Yes, Wales did lose both games. But one of them was a loss away to Belgium, right? Away to Belgium. Let's put this in perspective here. Yeah. You lose 2-1 in that game. You're not embarrassed. You're in that game. The other one, you lose 1-0 to Poland.
Not too bad. Yeah.
They're not, it's not like they're not embarrassing losses. The Poland one was not a great loss, right? I'll accept that. The team was lacking a fair bit up top. Probably could have done with bringing Kiefer Moore on at an earlier stage to try and make some set pieces a little bit more dangerous, but they didn't. I feel as though the results that Wales had aren't as bad as, say, the results that a certain American team might have had.
Ouch. Before we move on to the U.S. performance, so this happened in the Nations League, right? What are your thoughts on this competition? Because my thoughts were like, okay, now Mexico and these teams from Latin America, they can't really compete with a lot of these European teams in these FIFA windows because they're tied up to these competitions like the UEFA Nations League. But what are your thoughts on it? Do you think this really helps overall, or is it just another money-making scheme by FIFA?
Yes.
It's not would never for a starter. Look, at the end of the day, I think that the kind of important bit here, I know, yes, it's a money-making scheme in part, but it does provide something. It's not like it provides nothing. It's competitive. It's better than friendlies against the same old teams. And look, regardless, okay, Mexico might get games against big teams, for a perfect example, but your middling teams in UEFA don't. It's better for them to have competitive games, sometimes getting, as Wales did, right? We got promoted up to League A and therefore ended up playing against Belgium, the Netherlands, and Poland. That's better than trying to pick out friendlies, of which, quite frankly, we'll play Albania probably again and some other nonsensical friendlies that don't really help anybody.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, and I would say most other years, I see the value in it. This year, not so much. Very congested club schedule. You're already taking away time from there where you're already behind. And that's not even including the Premier League where, you've had a lot of games postponed for various reasons, as Owen knows. And I mean, I think other things as well. Like, I don't see the benefit of playing games that, yes, they're competitive, but you then have to then go back into a next 2-month slog on your club side of things. And keep in mind, this isn't even adjusting for the World Cup being in the wintertime, where most of the time you get about 3 to 4 weeks after, in a normal World Cup cycle, after a club season is over, to refuel, refresh, whatever. You can start camp early, all that stuff. These players are going to have about 8 days from the time club season starts to the time World Cup begins. I don't see the value in stopping for an international break right now, even if it is competitive games. If I were the person at FIFA pulling the strings, which, I mean, A, I would be very corrupt, goes without saying, but B, I would have, I would say, give me the 3-4 weeks beforehand, put in maybe a friendly or a longer camp you can lead up to it. But this whole, I don't see the point of, you're playing games 2 months before the World Cup that are more or less going to be meaningless. And I don't buy this whole, gelling with your team, building chemistry. The international scene isn't about building chemistry anyway. It's about being hot at the right time and getting you guys in form on the club level. Any other year, I get it. I don't see it at all this year.
But these games are going to happen anyway. These games were going to happen anyway. There's no question that games would have happened, whether it was the UEFA Nations League or whether it was friendlies, as we saw by the fact. Look, at the end of the day, if you go down that route, right, there are times when we've had one confederation only gets a window in the calendar. UEFA could have just had it, and the US could have played nothing. They didn't. They went off and played friendlies against Saudi Arabia and Japan and couldn't win either of those. But it's. But at the end of the day, you do need some degree of friendly period between qualification and the actual World Cup. And typically, and this is the thing, you want them a little bit further out because it's not about gelling. It's about picking your squad. It's about picking who you're going to take to Qatar. So that's the thing. I
don't disagree. And I get it is a lot about picking your squad. I'm just, this small window of games, I just don't see that as being the determining factor when also so much is going to change in 2 months from now. That's why I see the benefit moving it maybe a month out or so. And I guess having a bit more of a lead time with your squad. It's hard to show off who your squad's going to be after that quick of a window. It just doesn't make sense to me. And this is just a larger conversation with FIFA and international schedules in general. We can have a whole show about that, honestly.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say, Max. I think it's a larger question with the scheduling and the World Cup being moved to the winter. Because
I think that's the key thing. The key thing more than anything is if you take the World Cup out of November, it's not as much of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the US. Let's see how they're doing. I saw the game today, man. I'm not sure what Berhalter's doing, man. This team looks lifeless. They look beat up. They look like they don't know what they're doing or what style they're playing. Punchless is the word I would use.
Yeah, I saw something on Twitter and it makes a lot of sense. It's this is people. Well, if US fans do not forget, but this is going to be the first World Cup in 8 years, and to come out so, to your point, lifeless. There's not that sense of urgency, that a bit more today against Saudi Arabia than against Japan, but not really not much, if at all.
Yeah.
You're really hoping that these guys catch form on their club levels for something. Yeah, we talking about practice, Michael. Yeah, no, we're talking about getting squashed in. They're friendlies, but I'm very worried. US fans should be very worried. You never know. Teams can get hot and all this stuff, but for a country that was already having issues with who's the right people, I can't name the U.S. squad, name their starters. I can maybe give you like half, maybe. And and I don't even feel really confident about those. And a lot of them, I've been picking up the injury bug anyway. So tough.
I mean, Reyna went out today as well.
Man.
He played 30 minutes and then he just went out to the tunnel. Yeah, it's the U.S. squad is really young. I think 24 years young is the average age, I believe. But I think with teams like that, you know, I don't think any of them have been to a World Cup before. So you need that leadership. You need maybe a John Brooks. You need a Tim Ream, those guys in the back that are just going to lead the team. And no question that they're all talented. Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, you know, Gio Reyna, Pulisic. But a lot of these guys are not that leader even on their team yet. You know, their club team. So when you bring those guys together in that in the U.S., I think maybe there's a lack of leadership of just the guy. You know, is Pulisic the guy? I don't know. I don't think so. You know, I don't think that's the way he's treated at Chelsea. So I don't know. Can he bring that energy back to the U.S.? So I think at this point it's on the coach less than the players to get them all together and working. Owen has to say something. He has a smirk on his face. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. So just for a starter, I'm loving the Max saying they were a bit more lively today as they registered a phenomenal two shots on target. Congratulations. Right, so I didn't get the chance to see this game. I'll be upfront with that. I didn't get the chance to see this game because I was sitting in the dentist with someone getting what was effectively a glorified like kind of pliers trying to pull these like temporary crowns in the back of my mouth out, right? And I got out of that, and I had messages from a friend from high school over here who told me you were better off at the dentist. Watching that football might have been more painful. So
they played better than they did against Japan. If you play how you played against Japan, against Wales or England or even Iran, you're gonna lose that game. That was horrendous.
I'll happily see that.
I do stand by. They were more lively today in the sense that they had slightly more of a pulse and that they didn't look dead upon arrival. Wow, I just had to remember my letters. It's not saying much. Like again, I keep going back to the only saving grace for the US and like really like if you're examining the group as a whole. You need to build chemistry, but again, I think the World Cup, especially in these knockout competitions, a lot of it's a crapshoot. A lot of it is you want to have your players being hot at the right time. And again, I'm not saying these are meaningless. You need to be able to build your squad, like to Owen's point, and it does help. But if you put out this performance, you just better hope that the players come with a bit more something in their clubs and that you're able to maybe catch Wales or England on a bad day because if they come out like this, it's gross. It's so like, man, like 8 years. I've been waiting for this for 8 years, and this is what we're gonna turn out. Like,
it's waited for 8 years. Oh, bless. 8 years.
Okay, whatever.
It's all right. You only get to watch yourselves beating out the little island teams every 2 years in the Gold Cup.
I knew it. I knew as soon as I said. I knew.
Yeah, we had to wait for 8 years. Come on, think
about it. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I hope they do well because I feel like if the U.S. does well, I think more people will get into it, and I think there's always that World Cup fever. So it's always good to see them. But yeah,
can I be honest? I don't.
You don't think so?
Sorry, I'm just no. He said I hope the US do well. I'm just
No.
As long as Wales, if Wales get through, I don't care. It's fine. But you know, if you guys want to come in second, then that's okay. That's fine by me. But
that's fair. I will put out we hope to have more information next week. It's a very, very little teaser, but we hope to have more information on some World Cup watch parties, ideally by next week in the near future. So just stay tuned on that. That's all I'll say for right now. Still kind of solidifying some things, but yeah.
Breaking news here on PHNX Rising. Sure. But yeah, I'll wrap up with Mexico. They played Peru the other day. I wasn't impressed. I'm still not impressed with Tata Martino's system. I'm not sure if
you're not a big Tata fan.
No, I absolutely hate this guy. The fact that he missed a practice, first of all, to watch his native Argentina instead of being at practice could tell you something about what he thinks about this Mexican team. But yeah, no, I think there's just a punch missing. I don't think there's a leader like in the last World Cup. Like 2018, you can point out Carlos Vela, you can point out Chicharito as the guy, as the face of the team. This year, who's the guy? Is it Ochoa? Is it who is it? And I don't think we have that with this team, and I'm really scared. So it's especially seeing Saudi Arabia the way they played today. I think they can, cause some issues for Mexico. Argentina is definitely going to be a tough game. I don't think they're going to win that, and then Poland will be kind of like the X factor, I think. So I think they're playing right now in a few minutes against Colombia. That should tell us a little bit more, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Their striker situation is in shambles. I don't know if Raul Jimenez will make it. He's injured. Tecatito's injured as well, so that's not looking good as well. But fun, all fun and games, right? Wales and US and Mexico.
Before we go, let's all agree on one thing that we can all enjoy, which is the fact that England at the moment are crashing faster than the pound under Liz Truss. So yeah.
You're gonna say that. It was a fun game. Who did they play against? It was Germany.
Germany, yeah, they were 2-0 down. They did get it back. They were winning 3-2, and then conceded a, quite frankly, goal that the goalkeeper. I don't know how he spilled that ball, but it didn't even look like it took a deflection, did it? I think he just spilled it.
Yeah, he spilled it. Yeah,
that's actually pretty par for the course. No, that makes sense.
All right.
But congratulations to the Mines. Sorry, those were their first goals in open play they've scored in a competitive match all year. So everything's going really well for them.
Wow.
And don't forget the fact that penalty merchant Harry Kane managed to get on with a spot kick as well. So
ready to bag on England. It's coming home this year, Owen.
Oh gosh, you just
they
said penalty merchant back, Harry Kane.
Ramon, yeah, well he is, yeah. But anyway,
Ani, I'm doing it this weekend. So
do it.
I'm doing it. I'm not gonna be in Phoenix, but I'm gonna do it this weekend. All right, y'all. Before we wrap up the show, I will let you know that if you're looking for tickets, make sure to use our the app Game Time at our friends there, and you guys can use the link in the description on our show notes to purchase tickets. You can save up to 60% on tickets when you buy last minute. It's great for you procrastinators out there, and also if you want to check out the last 2 Phoenix Rising games, make sure to use the Game Time app and the link in the description to purchase your tickets. And also tomorrow, Bad Bunny's in town, so if you're looking to score some tickets for tomorrow, it's the biggest concert of the year. Make sure to use the Game Time app. It's gonna be crazy. Owen, I'm gonna show you Bad Bunny. You're gonna love him by the end of the day. I'm telling you. But yeah, make sure to use the Game Time app. It's gonna be crazy at Chase Field tomorrow. But all right, y'all. That wraps it up. Thank you so much, Owen and Max. Great to see you guys. I missed you. It's been a week. Been away, and hopefully Rising can get the victory tomorrow. Shout out to the chat, lively as always. Shout out to our producers Sean and Blue for joining us on the show, and we will be back tomorrow after the Rising game. Until then, take care.